Welcome to the podcast where we speak truth, illuminate power, and fully embody who the fuck we are. This is the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. We are all about spiritual evolution, spiritual growth, talking about the things that may be controversial, even some triggering concepts, but we are all about expansion. Come on in and join us as we reclaim and recenter ourselves in the power of who we really are. We are the Light Warriors, and welcome to the revolution. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 122 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. And I cannot wait to introduce Rebecca to you. You will tell when she starts to talk, like the energy that moves through her. It was a beautiful experience to even witness her on video as she showed up in the world, her divine feminine purity energy that moved through the collective, the messages that were transpiring through, some of the vulnerability shares. We lean into conversations about the pureness of manifestation. We lean into the conversations about moving through our healing journey and what we're experiencing right now with the collective energies transitioning and what this means for our life and our mission on earth and how intuition is showing up and playing in this adventure that we're on. And we move through all different kinds of conversations. So there's a lot of answers for a lot of people in this podcast episode, I know. And we hit up so many different types of points that it's like, you're going to grab something from this episode. And all I'm going to encourage you to do is come in a receivership energy to receive. And it was really funny. We got off and finished recording and she goes, I feel like I have a message for you. And I was like, do it, channel it in, like, let me feel what it is that you're feeling. And it was like, she just brought in all the confirmations of all the things that I've been feeling, moving through my next phase of awareness. So I know that there is something in this for you. So I am so excited. We talk about angels and her ability to channel them, the work she does in the world, some of the healing modalities she uses. And I'm just going to encourage you, if you feel connected to her, make sure to reach out, send her that Instagram DM, go connect with her and follow her on Instagram. She's got a beautiful spirit that I am just really grateful that I get to do this work and I get to step up with you to experience this in real time. So no further ado, here is Rebecca for you on episode 122 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Oh, all right, everyone. I know this is going to be a powerful conversation because before I even hit record, Rebecca and I were always like floating our way into a conversation already. I'm like, wait a second, let's collapse this in and let's bring it to the live actual sequence of events we're about to launch into with you guys. So we've been chatting and I'm just so excited to have you here. Like I said in the intro, but I'm so stoked. So welcome to the podcast. Let me say that first. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And like I said to you, I'm like, I want to lead off with this question. It's the only question I have prepared because as most of you listeners know, everything for me is in flow and we just follow the calling, just like Rebecca does life is exactly like this too, I'm sure. But let's start off with this. It's like, what's happening right now in the collective when it comes to like this healing that we're coming up against? There's energy moving, there's transition, stuff's transpiring. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What's coming through for you to share? And let's go there.
I feel like right now is a really intense and beautiful moment because right now I can feel the vibration. We are rising and the collective, more people get awakened. Daily, I see people have their spiritual awakening, and it's a beautiful thing. And I think it's because we are shifting from 3D to 5D. And for everybody who doesn't know, 3D is the world we're living right now. I should probably explain this real quick.
Yeah, that's good.
5D is another level. It's a level where we're supposed to be abundant, where there is no not having anything, having less, trying to manifest and nothing goes through. You have everything you desire and you just have to think about it. You have it already. Some people are already living in 5D. But most of us, we aren't. We are in this 3D world and we are raising. So right now, I see a lot of people daily getting their spiritual awakening, starting to get aware of the possibilities and actually uplifting each other. But on the flip side, I feel like there are a lot of people struggling because just to say this word manifestation,
Yeah.
for lots of us, it's a struggle, it's a hustle, and it's frustration pure.
Yeah.
And this is such a vital part when you go and you tap into your intuition, because when you feel frustrated because nothing you manifest seems to happen, you don't trust in your intuition, and this is
Mhm.
the rabbit hole you don't want to go in.
Yeah.
So I feel like it has a beautiful part, but at the same time a little shadowed part, this frequency, this vibration right now.
Well, and yeah, you bring up, and I've been talking a lot into this over the last even few weeks, especially with a lot of stuff that we're seeing, is that there's the law of duality that works in the world, or the law of polarization. And there are
Mm-hmm.
laws that govern, let's say, the energetic field of the earth experience, which means that if we have light, we must have dark. If we
Yeah.
have the sun, we also have the moon. And although that one could be counteracted because they're always in play, and anyways, whatever about that, anyways, but there's always this contradiction. There's expansion and
Mm-hmm.
contraction, and they both play together. So when we go more into the light and we are awakened, just like you said, and we're moving through this experience of seeing possibilities and feeling them now, to actually at the core of who we are, there's also the work that comes up in the shadow that needs to be moved through. And it is shit storms. It is stepping up into the space. It's dealing with our stuff. It's taking personal responsibility. It's all these harsher energies, but they're necessary in order for
Yeah.
this light to continue to move through. And it's it sucks some days. And let's just say it like it is. And every single episode of this podcast, Rebecca has an E on it. So I swear all the time. So feel free, if that's your MO, you do not have to curb any parts of who you are on this podcast. Okay. Just putting it out there. If it's not you, amazing. You don't have to step into that either. But it's like, this is the landscape that we're in right now. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
some people are stuck in the clusterfuck. Now,
Yeah.
you've been through a journey. We've all been through journeys, tons of journeys in this lifetime. But it's like there's probably some keys that you've learned through and you've been through inside of the space of some of the
Yes.
aspects of that. So I'd love for you to share whatever's on your heart right now in connection with that, because I feel like there's some people that are listening that are like, the story that you're about to share is going to really help them see something different. So I'm excited. I'm going to grab my
Okay.
coffee. I'm going to sit back and relax and let's go.
Yeah, this is a long story. Well, I have the fortunate part that I can pick up a lot of people because I have a every kind of shape and form in my story. So I will pick up a lot of people from different directions
Yeah.
because honestly, troubled childhood. I was in a really emotional abusive childhood.
Mhm.
And when I was younger, I picked up this pattern and copy and paste it into my future relationships,
Mhm.
which guess what? Didn't end up really well because I ended up in a toxic relationship and I endured every kind of abuse there was
Yeah.
until 12 years into my relationship. I realized, well, I've been through so much. He cheated, he lied, he stole, he did basically, except of all the emotional, physical, sexual abuse. I was like, I can't handle this anymore. I just, but I must say, I'm a fighter, so most people are probably like, okay, I'm out. I love myself too much. And this wasn't me. I thought I have to stick with this because stopping something or getting out of something is a sign of weakness. And
Mm.
that was my first lesson.
Right.
It's not weakness, it's strength because you choose you. And I didn't choose myself.
Mm.
I chose always the other one. Anyone. It didn't really matter for me if I knew the person for 12 years or 12 minutes. I picked the other one.
Mm.
And this is a huge indicator for my low self-worth at that time.
Yeah.
So I've done this and I realized that's not it. So when I went on this healing journey, I had my spiritual awakening really quickly.
Mm.
It's almost a year now ago. I must say it's not my first spiritual awakening because I grew up as a child seeing angels, talking to my angels. all the time, and it's like a chit chat. It's like a conversation like you and I have right now.
Yeah.
They answer, and people always ask me, is it hard to connect to the archangels because they're basically the boss? I'm like, no. And this got
The
me thinking,
boss.
was,
I just started
wait
that.
a minute,
Yeah.
you're talking to, it's an archangel. I mean, he's in the Bible, and I'm just like, hey, can you do this for me? And I felt like, oh, okay. Yes, but I used to talk to angels, my guides, my higher self, my soul. I do realize I have star seeds. I This was part of my journey later on. So
Hmm.
I always had this connection. And there's another layer to my story. I learned to stop suppressing this from society
Right.
norms because my family is not spiritual at all,
Yeah.
neither religious.
Yeah.
It's something people are delusional who believe in angels and stuff like this. So for me, it was like, hmm, I'm just this black sheep, this outsider, and I'm
Okay.
so different than everybody else. So I hid this part from everyone,
Right.
afraid to being judged, afraid to being labeled as crazy or delusional, or I don't
All of it.
know,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, I'm just suppressing this. And this was probably around school when I got into first grade, because then children start to, they have already opinions, and you realize this is not normal. It's
Right.
not normal to talk to others who not everybody can see.
Yeah.
So I learned this lesson just a couple of months ago, actually,
Mm.
that either people are with you or they're not.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But by suppressing yourself, your gifts, you're telling your subconscious you're not worthy and deserving, and
Mm.
you're not good enough. This is something to be ashamed of, where it's actually not.
Right.
And this was a tough lesson. Once I learned this, all these gifts came into play, and I realized, oh, okay, now it's my time to help.
Yeah.
And yeah, energy healing was something which came naturally. I never learned this.
Of course.
I I knew this. My soul knew this. And since I had such a tough past life, let's call it like this,
Yeah.
I had a lot of blockages in me. And there we go back to this part where the manifestation comes in.
Yeah.
Like everybody else, once you have your spiritual awakening, I started to manifest. I was like, okay, my life sucked.
Yeah.
Just say it frankly, it sucked. So I was like, let's manifest the dream life you can only imagine. So I was like, okay, I'm so happy and grateful for this and that.
Mhm.
Guess what? Nothing, really nothing happened. It was like tumbleweed, and I was like, where's nothing coming in? And I started to freak out, and this frustration with every day I manifested and nothing happened, I got more frustrated, and I started doubting all this intuition and my gifts, and I was so frustrated. Until
Mm.
one day I was like, okay, I asked my angel, his name is Leonidas, and I was like, Leonidas, what's going on here? Why isn't it working? And he was like, you're asking the wrong question. And I, I, I tried every question.
Yeah, of
As
course.
you can imagine, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, what's the right question? Until I realized, wait a minute, maybe I'm not able to manifest because I'm blocked.
Mm.
Because there is such things as being blocked energetically.
Yeah.
And this can have so many reasons. And from there on, I was like, okay, let's find this reason.
Right.
And I worked so hard on everything that I actually figured out how to unlock my abundance blockage, my love blockage, all those. It was all blocked. And a great indicator that you are blocked is you had tough life experiences, and nothing seems to manifest.
Mm.
People always tell me, I'm looking for the love of my life. Yes, of course you do.
Yeah.
But why? didn't you find it yet? It's obviously not because there is nobody out there,
Yeah.
because the universe provides somebody for you. There is for
Everything.
sure somebody there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're looking just in the wrong direction, or you're people say like you have glasses on, this pink glasses. I
Yeah.
feel like it's something you have like this block glasses on there as well. Sometimes you can't just see it because your soul sees it and it's like, no, I'm keeping you safe. We keep hand arm's length, stay away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're wondering why people think you're bitchy. Yeah, this is your ego. This is your soul which tries to support to um save you.
Yeah. Yes, it's an interest. Well, and it just goes back to the law of duality too. It's like there is, if there's a problem, there's a solution. There is.
Yeah.
So if you're like, there is partnerships for everyone on this earth experience because both entities and energies were created in the space of coming together. And not that like soulmates and twin flames and all the things, like not even just that. Like I'm talking about every single person, animal, being on earth has a partnership. I watch
Yes.
the macaw birds, so the parrot macaws, they are loyal to a partner and they travel in twos all the time. So you may see two of them, 20 of them, whatever it is, but they're like together consistently all the time. And it's like there's enough
Yeah.
macaws on this earth for partnerships and everywhere. But it's us, it's the human that's made these decisions, that goes through these traumatic things, that closes themselves off, that decides to stop seeing their angels because they want to fit in, because they want to be a part. And that's the whole conditioning of the collective, right?
Hmm.
It's the whole mechanism of all the things. And it's really cool and fun that you chose a family that didn't believe in anything and you came down completely open, seeing angels all over the place when everybody in your life was saying all these things about them, like they're not true, like people are crazy, they talk, and then it's like you're like, one's sitting beside me, the other one's floating above me, and it's like
Yes.
you saw them. And I love though that your soul chose that, and that's something too, like I feel like a lot of us are having challenges with, is that the parts of our experience, even this traumatic experience of you choosing this partner in your life, it's like we choose the learning. And some
Hmm.
days that is so hard to swallow because it's like, it's traumatic, it's deep, it's deeply rooted, it's dark, and all the things. We're like, I didn't choose this. It's like, well, you actually did. And
Yes.
you chose the environments in your family and all the things to be able to come out the other side and teach it and move with it and be in that and all that stuff. Correct?
Yes, so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a couple of reasons why souls pick a life. My soul is um, really seasoned. I have a really old soul.
Mhm.
And so my soul picked this life because this is the last life on this earth.
Mhm.
And first, when I heard this news, I was like totally freaking out because I was like, I'm not done on this earth. I don't want to go. So I was like, I'm sabotaging everything. So I'm not leaving here. We're not done yet. But until I realized, again, I asked the wrong question. Yes, this is my last life on this earth, but we are going from 3D to 5D, and 5D is
Mm.
another earth.
Mm.
It's a different dimension. And so once I overcame this little crisis, I realized, okay, this life, before I'm done with this level, this dimension, I need to check up on everything I have learned over the past lives. So this is basically my bucket list life. I'm like, okay, I've done this. I learned this lesson. Okay, I've done this as well. And this lesson, I learned it too. And this is basically my life to get rid of all the karma
Mm.
and start new. And so I think sometimes souls pick this life for this reason. And sometimes they pick a life for a new experience.
Mhm.
So they experience another level of life, soul, a new soul level. And both ways are really important for a soul. But the common thing is always know your soul only picks a life which it knows can handle. You can handle every challenge there is. And it's so important to see, for me, when I had this time, this relationships, I was in a different perspective back then because I didn't have my spiritual awakening and I felt alone and I felt victimized. And I would lie if I would say I didn't like this position.
Mm,
Because honestly, it felt safe and secure, and it was nice to have my little pity party for a while. But this is nothing you stay in. At one point, you have to decide, okay, I'm not on the back seat of my life. I'm in the driver's seat, and I have the power to change everything.
yeah.
And it's on me to change this life. And this is when actually my spiritual awakening began. And from there on, I saw this is nothing to be sad about. It's not why me? Why did this happen to me? Why do I always have to be the victim? It's more of what did I learn in this life? What's the gift in this?
Mm,
Because when you look at it from this perspective, you realize, or I at least realized, I needed to go through this to learn what I needed to learn to help others and pick them up where they're at because I've
right.
experienced it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's a wonderful gift, actually. Yes, it's not that nice, but it's like in every superhero movie. There is the superhero has always their downfall and then they go back up. But it's never this static kind of life because static is boring. You have no growth there.
Yeah.
So thank every time when I have a challenge, I'm like, thank you for this challenge. Let's see what magic is in there.
Yeah. And I love this way of thinking. And also, too, technically nothing can be static, like, because everything
Yeah.
has a charge of energy. So it's either it's moving in one direction. So you get to choose the direction. You're either going backwards or you're going forwards. That's just how it works. Like, and sometimes we're like, well, I'm
Mhm.
playing in the sidelines. I'm like, it's not how it works. Like, that's just physics and that's it, and that's the space that we're in. So I love all of this, and I talk a lot about the gifts of certain things. Like I just finished teaching a program to close off the 2024 year, and I brought in the conversation of what were the gifts this year that you
Mhm.
received. And if we start to look at the challenges and obstacles as the gifts, because the learning is the gift, we go through things to teach from it, exactly what you said. And it's like, and sometimes it's deathful and dark, but someone else needs that beacon of light you're about to bring into their world in the resonance of that authenticity and that authentic energy. And you can't move it through unless you are holding that light authentically. So I
Oh, I
I love
love
it.
this.
Yeah, me too. I love these kinds of conversations and the space of this because if people can really understand that life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us, and that's a
Mhm.
huge shift. Then when the obstacles comes, because they always will, when the challenges comes, because they always will, it's part of the whole learning experience. It just makes it a lot easier to step in and to be in that and to move through it and all of it. Yeah.
Definitely. And I always think if there's no dark, there's no light.
Hmm.
The light needs the dark.
Yeah.
And I have this analogy that Batman needs Joker. If
Hmm.
Joker isn't there,
Yeah.
it's just some dude in a cape and tights, and it's not really sexy. Nobody's like, oh, I like this dude in the tights. So, but once there is this evil villain, on the sudden, it's kind of sexy to have this dude in the cape and the.
Yeah.
So both
I love it.
both both we need both, and this is so important to see.
Yeah.
And it's not just this gift, you get rewarded with resilience, and
Mhm.
resilience is so powerful. Once you have this, you can overcome everything. This confidence you build through this experience, it's such a vital part of life. And people who don't have this resilience, they get pushed over by any kind of small wind.
Mhm.
And this makes you so much more better off. Let's say better off. You're better off this way. And this is like a bonus on getting this gift of growth, on getting this lesson. And so it's beautiful in any way. even though everybody is complaining when they're in the
Of
midst of
course.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, of course they are. And I've had this conversation multiple times, especially over the last month with all different kinds of people in my world, like different belief systems and structures and everything. But it's like when we look at the state of the world, sometimes we're looking at it from that negative eye of like, I can't believe that person's doing that and that, da, 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 da. And it's like, they're the activator. They're
Mhm.
the disruptors. They're the ones actually creating the shift in the energetic capacity for more people to be awakening because the truth is starting to move through the earth experience, right? And we're seeing our truth and holding our truths and all the, and there's our unique truth, but it's a part of a mechanism of the whole truth inside of this space.
Yes.
And although maybe we're in different frequencies, so our truths may not come together, but they obviously do because you're here on this podcast, and we wouldn't be here together if there wasn't a thread that brought us into an alignment to be able to speak this out in the world. But there's a lot of people in our life that believe other truths, and that is true for them. It doesn't mean that
Mm-hmm.
they're aligned in the truth of it all because they're living in that paradigm, moving through that space. But it's like we cannot have the lessons, like you said, like we need the jokers, like, we need the prime ministers and the presidents of the like countries to step up and do the shit they're doing in order for some more people to awaken, right? And it's like, but we always need to remember though, what is our truth? And like the podcast is obviously called Light Warriors Unleashed. And it's like every single one of us has a warrior energy, and not to fight, but to be who we are and that embodiment. And the mechanism is running so hot, I call it, in the field right now. It's like, keep stepping in, keep following that calling, keep going through the shit that you need to go through and get to the other side, all the
Yes.
things. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is so important. And this is something lately I've seen this a lot actually. People come and it takes me so much longer to remove this negative thought patterns and the energy society puts on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much denser than it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe because so many people awake right now. I don't know, but I feel like there's a lot going on. And the thing is, it's either or. I see either the lower chakras are really blocked or the upper. It's never like, oh, there's one lower and one. No, it's always either or. And I feel like this is something which is maybe really part of society trauma right now, too,
Mm.
because I can tell the lower chakras are usually financially means connected or
Yeah.
feminine, divine feminine on this ego, while the upper ones are more spiritual.
Yeah.
And either you're, especially in women, I see this suppressed financially,
Mm-hmm.
and you have your lower chakras blocked because we're
All of it. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you like it or not, we're living in a male-dominated society.
Mm-hmm.
So for a woman to have their own financial stability, it's not that common in lineage or in their ancestors. A lot of women were suppressed, so this is sometimes really connected to this. While society, on the other hand, the upper chakras are often blocked because of religious experiences or because of who knows, society says you're a lunatic when you believe in angels, guides, or any of that. So I think this is right now especially difficult, and this energy is shifting. But you're right. Maybe it's really connected to how the world is right now. Maybe it's really connected to the presidents we have, the wars we have, all of it, and this uncertainty and this change.
Yeah. Well, I think that, and what you say about suppression, it's like for centuries. So, I had the beautiful experience of interviewing someone that was talking about human design and about 2027 and how we're shifting out of the pattern that we've been in since like 14, 15. So
Mhm.
that pattern is about more systems and very masculine driven energies. And for the last few years, have been saying like without proof of anything, just downloaded and prophecy hits of like 2027 is the like where the light expands. We still got some years of upheavaling and moving through energies and all the stuff, but it's like it'll break open in 2027. And I kept saying that. And so she came on the podcast and the episode has dropped already. So it's like in the docket there. You guys can go back and find it. And it was like we were chatting about this, and it's like the recalibration of the balance within the divine feminine energy and the divine masculine energy is coming back into play, where we were in the society super focused masculine wise, but toxic masculinity almost. It
Yes.
wasn't the strength of the masculine that then ignites the feminine. It was literally in toxicity of control and power, and I will do whatever I want and take whatever I want, because that was the mechanism that was playing out in the world. And it's shifting, but we've got to get under it. So it's like we're uprooting it all. And that's why we're seeing it come up, and all this stuff is moving through the world right now. Shit we haven't seen, or the calibration of where we're able to channel or tap into past lives and stuff is like so potently aligned right now, because
Yes.
all of it is coming to play. It's like we're being realigned back into who we really are, and not the
So true.
robotic people we had to be before, you know? Yeah.
Yes, and it's so true. And I love this because divine feminine and divine masculine, people say like, oh, you're a man, so you must be masculine, and you're a female, so you must be feminine. But this is so far from truth. It's this yin and yang in each of us, in everything of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs this balance. And right now, like you said, toxic masculinity, so true.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I I have this gift where I can tap into the Akashic records,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see right now that we are on this verge. It's getting balanced again, because when I pick up past lives, it's really a different energy. Female are really suppressed, and it's imbalanced. It's if you're if your feminine energy is really so kept suppressed and small, while when I go a little bit up and I ask for the future lives,
Mm-hmm.
I see how it shifted. I can
Mm-hmm.
see how strong the female becomes. And it's not this what we have right now. Women are in leadership positions, and they are strong and they have this job, but they think twice if they are actually able to wear a skirt to work, and they have to lead in a masculine manner. It's not like this. It's you can be your female self. You can be nurturing, caring, loving, and people will still follow because you have this inherited feminine energy. And this is something which is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people are scared of this
Yeah.
because it's so powerful.
Well, and that's the key thing, because an enlightened woman actually heightens a man and is the strength behind the man. And the man steps up and creates a safety for the woman to be able to feel and be safe. And we're coming out of a lot of that distortion. We can take a look at all the places where, and I'm not talking about just the gender of women, but the diminishment of that divine feminine in all of us. Like you can't cry as a male, or men don't
No.
connect intuitively in, or they don't join ceremonies and they don't do this. And it's coming back. Like men have stuff to work on too. Men can be part of experience this way. I watch in yoga here, because like I said to you, like I live in Costa Rica, and it's like I watch men, at least 2, 3, 4, 5 men coming out to yoga and it's like we're coming back into this alignment, and we're being called forward in it. And it doesn't mean the men are weakening. It means that they're strengthening that inside of them to hold it, to then be the providers or the movement makers or all of that moving through. And it doesn't mean that women can't hold that as well if they desire it. But like you said, it's like some of the Me Too movements are pushing the narrative too far over, where they're trying to make women masculine when they don't
Mhm.
need to be. Women can own their power here and still make millions of dollars a year, and still be moms if they want to be, and still show up in the way that they want to show up inside of all of it. Yeah.
So true. And I love that you picked this piece out, that male need to be feminine, have feminine energy as well, because I feel like we always think a male has to be so strong. And yes, he is basically offering a safe container for the feminine energy, for the female to explore, to be creative, to be nurturing. But I think if you're just one part and the other part is missing, you're weaker. You're stronger when you have two legs. It's just the way it is.
How we were built. It's just the duality of everything. And we are
Yes.
duality inside of us in all the ways, as is every single person on this experience, right? So yeah. So this episode's going to launch somewhere in February of 2025. So just knowing that and feeling
Mm-hmm.
that, obviously we're recording it in December, but it's like, what do you feel called to share with people right now? Like we're moving through some energies, we're doing some stuff, like things are transpiring, but with the work you're doing in the world, what are you seeing to tell us about? Like what's, I don't know, I just feel like I just need to frame it that way and you'll just take the reins.
I feel like I get this a lot channeled right now, and I feel like for a lot of people, it's going to happen. 2025 is going to be a pivoted year because a lot of energetic changes will happen. Um, for a lot of people, they will step into their power.
Mhm,
I believe a lot of people will spiritually awaken, so the collective will be raising as well.
mhm,
I feel like yesterday I had a really fantastic experience because I think I channeled my first galactic connection.
yeah,
So I asked what they had to tell us, and this spirit told me that we don't have to be scared because they are protecting us from ourselves.
mhm, yeah,
I was like, okay. So, for everybody who's listening and who's scared right now, what's going on in the world, there are a lot of wars going on right now. We're not supposed to be scared because this is an energetic shift as well. The
mhm,
world is shifting and it's in any kind of form. In order to up level, we need to get a clean karma. And this is not just your personal karma, this is the karma on earthly manner, basically. So there's always somebody out there who's protecting us, so it's not getting out of hand.
mhm,
But we are going through this shift, and it's a lot of shifts this upcoming year, and it's nothing to be scared of
yeah,
because it's a beautiful thing. You need to shed your old skin to get into a new one. This is basically the same thing. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really exciting and beautiful year,
mm,
and a challenging year for a lot of people too, because not everybody is in the mindset we are.
yeah,
A lot of people are still fear based. And I think the people who aren't, it's our purpose to take care of the others,
mhm,
to help them out. Because even though they might not believe in what we believe, and they might not be able to see or experience what we experience or see, but it's still our obligation to take care of them.
yeah, yeah. I every year I teach an end of year program going into the new year, and I always get a download as to what this year is going to represent. And when it came in a couple months ago, it was like 2025, the year of letting go. And I went, you can
Oh,
take that as so much because each person's going to have their own perception on that. But just like what you just said is like that shedding of the layer of that old version of self and being able to let go of the patterns that no longer serve you and the cycles that you've been in and closing out that karmic debt that's in the space of and all of that. It's a year. My body's in goosebumps. It's a year of that for all of us in some way, shape, or form. So it's going to be really interesting to see, and like you said, like there is going to be some depth, there will be some darkness still, like,
yeah.
and one of the key points when I did some prophecy work for the year, it's like there's still work to be done. Like that is still one of the key dynamics, is like even those of us that are awakened, been doing this work for a long time. Like I got my first spiritual mentor 16 years ago, and I've been doing this
Wow.
work for that long, so I'm one of the beginner ones, like I'm one of the ones that like is over here that didn't just awaken through some of the stuff that happened in the last 4 years on the earth. I was somewhere leading a charge as a silent trailblazer, meaning like I was like in the back end 1-to-1. I wasn't the one like professing it into the world. I was over here in the back end managing energies. And it's like there's still work to be done. And we're being called forward into, like we've chatted, the depthful work. Like we've got to get to the root of this because we cannot move into the next phase. The earth, us, everyone holding on to those roots. So I love that you brought that up, and it's just more confirmation always for me. I'm like, yay, we're on point again.
Yes.
It's
I'm
so funny.
curious. May I ask you something?
Yeah.
You said 16 years ago you were in the back end. Did this have a reason? Was it because you didn't feel comfortable going out there, or because there was still stigma on this spirituality? It's not like this hype right now where it's fancy to be spiritual.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I call it the spiritual closet. So I didn't really have anybody in my life other than a couple friends I could talk to certain things, and my ex-boyfriend, who was also my twin flame, certain things. But I couldn't speak fully about all the stuff. Like when I started channeling and when I started really like light language and all the things that I do now and understand and am now, instead of becoming, maybe is the right word. It's like I didn't have people in my world, and I was a pragmatic business coach at the time. So I was doing growth strategies and franchising and leadership development. So it was very rooted 3D, but not really 3D, because I was always tapped in, didn't realize I was tapped in, but all the things inside of that
Mm-hmm.
space still was happening. So I didn't really have an online brand. There wasn't really spaces to talk about it. I would talk about manifestation and, giving everyone the secret and all like that stuff that transpired back in the day then. But it never felt, and maybe I always thought it was like a hobby, it was just like a cool thing. And it never felt like it would ever be the thing until 2020 happened. And then all my businesses shut down and literally all my income streams shut down. And then it was like, I kept hearing source, it's like, okay, you're ready. I was like, for what? And I had, meanwhile, the same laneway, taken all these courses. So I was past life regression trained. I did Akashic Record certification. Like I literally certify in the records now, mediumship, animal. I took all the courses for fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, this is fun. It's just for me. And I'd get certified because I'd get people to just let me do stuff on them. And they would be like, whatever, Colleen's just over there doing her stuff and doing things. And then the soul mission activation energy started to come through the field, and I started to actually own it. I fought it for a good 2 years. Like I was still one foot on either side, and then in 2022, it was like I couldn't ignore it any longer. And I chose to just fully immerse and step in. And I like, there's no way I could go back. Like, there's just no way.
Wow.
Yeah. So the whole journey, like, and it's almost like the trusting of that and the experience of that and all the things. So yeah, thank you for asking
It's
that question.
beautiful. No, of
Yeah.
course. I was just curious. I don't know, maybe somebody else was curious as well.
Yeah. Well, and I'm when I do solo episodes, especially too, I'm like super open and just like available to like speak into stuff. But it's like, I don't know, maybe people haven't heard that story. I'm not sure if they have or not. I'm like, I don't even know. Maybe it came through at some point in time, but maybe they didn't know or remember. But it's like if we look at that key, it's like I was hiding for a long time, and I didn't need to be hiding for a long time. So just like yourself too, right? It was like you stayed longer in the relationships and you like didn't do that. And then all of a sudden you're like, and you came into
Yes.
play. So for those of you guys hearing the whispers, those of you guys seeing the moves making, like all this coming through, just keep trusting the space of it all. Like keep stepping in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important. It's because I remember when I did my spiritual journey, before all of this, you think you're not you didn't have your spiritual awakening, so you're not connected. This is so far from
Oh
how
yeah.
it really is. Because I remember I got this tiny taps under my shoulder. It's basically the universe telling you like, "Hey, this is not right. Go a different direction. Take a different path. This is not good for you." But I kept ignoring and ignoring and ignoring, and this little whisper, it became a shout. And when I didn't listen to this either, I got the brick.
Right.
It was really full on blast. And that's why my life crumbled. That's why
Right.
I
Yeah.
needed this.
Yeah.
That's why I ended up in homeless, financially broke, explored, no job, nothing. I had to start from scratch. And this is what happened when you're not listening. The
Yeah.
universe was always watching out for me. I
Yeah.
just didn't want to listen.
Yeah.
And so just because you don't want to see it, it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it forever. One day it'll push through. And this is actually a good thing because knowing this, you're never alone, you're always watched over, and there's always someone who loves you and is with you either way. And your angels are with you anyways. They
Yeah.
know you better than yourself.
Yeah. And I just like you, I wasn't ever homeless, but probably really close to being homeless in the space of everything. But luckily, the law protected me as a renter because I probably should have been homeless to some degree because there was like parts of my whole entire life experience that was exactly like yours. And it was like, it's almost like I had to get taken out at the knee in order to actually step into what I needed to. And, I'm still knee deep in some of that, like repercussions of some of that lifetime of not making those choices soon. And I'm cleaning up so much stuff. Like we talk about clearing up karmic debt. It's like, I'm still cleaning it up. And I'm like,
Yes.
I'm good with that, but I would love it in 15 days for most of that shit to be gone, because it's December the 16th in my world at least.
Yes.
So I'm just like, and that's the focus right now. I'm like, what is actually possible? What could actually be created in 15 days of time? And I am watching the universe play the game with me while I play the game with myself, meaning I'm trusting, I'm actioning, I'm expanding, I'm moving it through. Like, highest month in business so far this month. Like I'm up 300% like in business
Wow.
this month already.
Congratulations.
I think I'm playing the game, right? And I'm choosing that game. And it's just like if we can really feel that and really understand that just like you've mentioned throughout the whole entire time, it's like the possibilities are there. Like we are the possibility. But we as the human need to start to play in that, see that, and move that through and do all the things that way. So
Once you
thank you.
know what the problem is and you understand it, you can fix it.
Yeah.
Being aware of this is the challenge. Get aware of this. That's why people come to me and they're telling me what their problem is.
Yeah.
And I can see and I can take it out of them, this energy block.
Yeah.
But they are not able to see this. It's because they're too close. They
Of course.
it's too emotionally attached. So when I go in and I talk to their inner child, for example,
Mm,
I see what's going on and I can take out what's blocking them.
right.
And of course, we all want to have this gone, like now.
Yeah, of
But
course.
sometimes it's in divine timing. Sometimes something else needs to happen before that. Something else needs to be learned before this. And then it's going to happen. And
Yeah.
it's always coming in divine timing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because there may be something else that needs to connect into that first. The learning, like, did you, because it's just kind of like the like lottery winner mentality, right? So you win the lottery, but then a certain amount of years later, you're back or even lower than where you were when you won all these millions because the energy hasn't transitioned. You haven't learned what's necessary to learn. So if the
Yes.
universe just gave you all the stuff, but you don't have the piece that connects it together to hold that energetic capacity, it's like why waste? There's nothing's ever a waste, but why go there? So divine timing is
Mhm.
aligned in the space of some of the things. And I think I'm really
And
at the point of breaking that open now. And I'm like, okay,
oh,
we've done all
yes.
the work, like, well, there's still more, of course, but here we are, let's roll, so yeah.
You're really on the verge because you learned so much. But going back to this lottery winner scenario, this is the thing. People think manifestations are always like the good things. You manifest your dream life and everything. No, I have so many people who are coming to me like, I suck at manifesting. I'm like, no, sweetheart, you aren't. You're manifesting your entire life.
Yeah.
You're just focusing on the wrong things
Yeah.
because you're manifesting this flat tire, you're manifesting this bill, and this is what the lottery winners did. They manifested this money, it came, and then they manifest all the bills which take the money again.
Yeah.
They didn't build this safe container to hold this energy and to let it flow naturally. And there is this problem because somewhere in their energetics is a blockage which prevents them from keeping this. Because there's maybe a limiting belief, maybe an ancestor who tries to make their life worse.
Yeah.
Maybe there is um, a chakra which is blocked or broken, even, which is connected to an inner child. It has so many reasons. And until you're not getting to this root, you will always manifest something to make it go away.
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true. And it's like I speak into this all the time. It's like we are all consciously creating every aspect of our life. And if we start to see it that way and feel it that way and take ownership of that, then we can shift anything because we are the
Mhm.
conscious creators. So I
Yes.
love this. We went everywhere today, which was amazing. And there's like
Yes.
pockets for all the people. So whatever pocket you needed today, you got it if you're still here listening in the space of it all. But tell everybody, like, what do you have going on and where can people find you? And we'll obviously have all the links inside of the show notes for that. But I just love to hear, like, what's up over there?
So, I have a couple of coaching programs. This was basically the beginning when I started because which I learned really early on is to receive your spiritual gifts, you need to have a baseline. And this foundation is actually your self love. When you don't love yourself, when you don't feel worthy of yourself, you're not able to receive spiritual gifts because you think you're not deserving them. So your intuition, your spirituality needs a ground where it can flourish. And this is basically the self-love. And then when I did this, I realized, okay, I probably need boundaries because once I have my self-love, it was always gone because everybody was stepping into and all over it. And so I realized, okay, here are boundaries. So for the people who are like me and they need a little more,
Mm-hmm.
I do have a boundary course because some people love it the hard way, like I do.
Yeah, I totally get it.
And I, after that, I realized, okay, now I have the foundation, now I have everything. And then my spiritual gift kicked in. And I wanted to offer people this as well because I wanted to make sure I reach everybody where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
So some people just need some angelic help, or they want to connect to a loved one who's not with them anymore, or to their guides, to their higher self. They want just a clear purpose or a clear vision. I do channeling because I think sometimes this is the small information you need to change your entire life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for everybody who's feeling stuck, who have problems, it's basically when you look at your life and you feel like I'm not happy, and no matter what I do, I'm not getting happy,
Yeah.
then energy healing is your thing
Mm.
because it's a one-on-one. I go into your energetics and I see what the problem is, and I can help you. And we solve this.
Yeah.
And once everything is fixed, you can become the best version of yourself. You're being able to step into your power, your fulfillment, your divine feminine or masculine, whatever you need. You can become the light you were supposed to be without dimming it, without being somebody else. You can be authentically yourself and just be good with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I always say this, like Instagram's my playground. So that's where I
Mhm.
play on Instagram. Where can people find you? Do you have a website? I don't even know. I didn't even check your links, but I'll be posting them.
I
That'd
do
be
have
proactive
a
of me.
Don't worry. I know it too, so don't worry, you didn't have to do the work.
Yeah. Perfect.
You can find me at Rebecca Pilger. and at Instagram. And I do have Facebook as well. And I do have a podcast, Soul Desire. You can find me on Facebook, Soul Desire Podcast. There are a lot of people who can talk about the podcast spirituality. They can connect. And I really love this to keep the conversation going. So obviously the podcast. And
Yeah.
my website is rebeccapilger.com. There are a lot of freebies for everybody who wants to get their journey starting and just tap their feet in whatever's there and just, I don't know, find spirituality, find their intuition, find their gifts because we all have a unique gift and it's on us to find it. Our
Mm-hmm.
toolbox, basically.
Yeah. No, I love this. And I look forward to being on your podcast as well and us riffing off
Yes.
inside of that space too. And all I suggest to people all the time is like, people come into our world, energies come into our world, messages come into our world. And if you can take something that Rebecca said in action, or if you're feeling called, to go to Instagram and follow her to be in her energy, or if you're like, oh, I would really love some of that energetic healing work from her, like take the action, feel the energy of that, and like really allow yourself to action. Because if you do it in this type of scenario, you're doing it in all aspects of your life. And it's like, that's where the change and shifts transpire. So,
Oh, this is so valuable
yeah.
because people always think like, I have one issue. No, once you fix this one issue, everything else will have this ripple effect and everything else will start to flourish. It's connected.
Oh, it's
That's really
all,
wonderful.
yeah, it
Yes.
totally is. So I just want to finish off today. It's been amazing. And thank you so much for all the shares. But what is the last thing you just want to leave people with? So they're about to click off. They're about to go back into their day doing whatever they're up to. They were out on their runs. They were in their car driving to work. They were doing something. And they are about to hear this message from you today to leave them to go into their space. So what do you want to say to them?
I want them to know that they have a special gift. They are worthy and deserving because they are already on this earth being abundant. They came to this earth abundant, loved, worthy, and just special. So stop dimming your light. Just be you and be good with this and let everybody sh- see how amazing you are. And know that you're always loved. Your angels love you deeply and they're always with you.
Yay, I love that. And love to finish on love, like that's such a great way to like complete the show episode, I think. Like it's just so great. So it's been amazing. Rebecca, I love getting to know you. Thank you so much for shining your light today and for stepping into space with all of your juicy love as well and all the information that you shared with us today. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that we got connected and that you're here. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful.
Yes, it definitely was wonderful. And all I'm going to say to you guys, like I always do, encourage you, is take a snapshot of this, send a message over to Rebecca, tag us on Instagram, help spread the word, share it with a friend. Because the more people that get this energy in their field, the more people that are transitioning into the space of, and they know they're held and supported and they're never alone as we make this movement forward. So we'll see you guys all again soon. Bye for now.